then it's really significant for him and his confidence. And it's just another step forward for an offense that I really believe is doing this.
Hello, friends. I had one particular gentleman yesterday tell me they didn't like my rant. And then I had 97 others tell me they liked it. Today, we're just going to tell you it's TexAgs Rewind presented by Specs in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And Callie, what was your favorite part of the show?
Well, you got Liucci on a Tuesday, and we never get that. So I think that was my favorite part.
And we went long.
And we went long.
We went long. Nick, your favorite part?
Brooks Austin.
He was great,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
he's really good. I enjoyed his studio, a little Johnny football action in the background. So Brooks Austin, for sure.
Yeah, and we had the KBTX Roundtable. We also had Olin Buchanan in Alabama for the SEC Basketball Media Days. That and more. It's a very soft-spoken TexAgs Rewind presented by Specs. Check it. I want to go back to basketball. You're there at basketball right now, or SEC Basketball Media Days. I remember in 21, Obi, I made a comment on the show that a couple people thought was ridiculous. And maybe it is ridiculous, but I was like, I see a future where Wade Taylor and Henry Coleman can be AC Law, Joseph Jones. Now, I don't know if they're going to reach that level of mystique, right? But Wade Taylor and Henry, to a point, they've elevated themselves into a conversation of being forever in Aggie lore.
Well, I think Wade has. I'm not sure that that Henry has had the consistency.
Yep.
But when you look at Wade, now Wade can be inconsistent too. But when he's on, he's among the best players in the country. I mean, and we saw that in the tournament last year. And I think just having Wade Taylor on your team gives you a chance to have makes you a championship caliber or contender, I should say. But with the pieces they've added, they got the kid named Payne, Farrell Payne, we believe is going to give them more of a inside scoring presence. And the Phelps kid from SMU averaged like 16 points there. And then with Solomon Washington, looked like he was really ascending last year, and Manny Obaseki and Henry, and even Jace Carter being back. You look at that team and you say, this could be the best team A&M has had. I don't want to say ever. Shelby had some amazing teams, but this could be definitely, I think, the best team that Buzz Williams had. And last year, they were close to getting to the Sweet 16. So I don't think there's any reason to have expectations that they would at least get to the second week of the NCAA tournament this year.
Hey, so kind of borrowing the theme we were talking about, I don't know who's good in college football this year. Like, legit, it seems beyond the 12-team playoff, which opens things up. Like, I feel like there isn't a dominant force, and we've already poked a little bit of holes in Texas, and if they win this weekend, I think they can feel much better, obviously, about where they are. But, like, I look at a team like A&M. I don't know how good A&M is, other than I think they're going to be favored in every game that they play up until Texas. That's what it feels like right now. They've got to take care of business. They've had a hard time with Mississippi State on the road in the past. Road trips to South Carolina in this SEC, especially more than any other year, that's not a guarantee. Auburn, even though they haven't looked good, has been interesting. When you look at the SEC overall, like, I feel like A&M has got at least, they play a type of football that can withstand a lot of this as long as they can keep Connor Wigman healthy. What do you see from A&M?
I was asking my producer this before the show. Is Texas A&M the best defense in the SEC? I want to say they're in the argument for it. They're at least playing like that right now. They haven't allowed a 300-yard passing a game yet this season. They haven't allowed a quarterback to complete 65% of his balls yet this season. The run game has been all teams have been, resorting to offensively. And with the way they play on the defensive line, I don't think that's a sustainable recipe for success against Texas A&M. Their linebacking core is really, really well coached and disciplined. They rally to the football. They tackle. Oh, by the way, they run the rock on the offensive side of the football. Le'Veon Moss, really, really good. And now all of a sudden, Connor Wigman's going to start playing like Connor Wigman has the ability to do. Like, no, this is a Texas A&M football team that I thought going into the year was going to kind of be middlesome. They were going to be the best of that middle group. And now, like, through 7 weeks of the season, entering week 8, Is Texas A&M one of the best 3 or 4 or 5 football teams in the SEC? They're certainly one of the most consistent. And at this point in the season, that means you're one of the best. If you're consistently showing up week in and week out and playing your brand of football and winning games the way that you have to win them to win in this conference, then, dude, you're one of the best teams in this conference, especially with the way that they can play to their brand of football. I've been really, really surprised by what Mike Elko has done this season. I was even more surprised during the spring that he kept all 3 of those quarterbacks on that roster, man. His ability to go to the microphone when the whole world thought Connor Wigman was his starter and keep Marcel Reed on that roster won them those 3 games that he had to start due to Wigman's injury. I thought Elko has done a tremendous job out there this year, no doubt.
Were you all able to watch football this week? And I know it's your
watched a
job
lot
to
of
talk
football.
about it. So
I watched a lot of football because we have our Saturday extra coverage show on 10 p.m. on Saturdays where we just run highlights from all across the conference, some in the Big 12 as well. So all I did Saturday was watch football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, and it was entertaining. And I actually come away with a lot more questions after this week of football than answered. It was kind of
hold
weird.
on. We're going to come to you in a second. I want to hear these questions. What questions do you have? I mean,
Yes,
I
Tyler,
don't-
enlighten.
I don't know who's good in the SEC.
Did you listen to the
I
last
think it's
segment?
open.
I actually didn't. I was busy
He was talking to Bronny
Bronny.
about high school football.
Yeah, we were talking
Right.
high school football.
Oh, okay.
But now that we're transitioning to college football, I don't know who's good, except for Texas.
Texas.
I think
Are
Texas.
you sure they're good? I mean, yeah. Hold on, let me rephrase that. Before
Are you sure? Tell me you're unsure.
Are you sure they're number 1 good?
Who else?
I don't know. Yeah,
I think right now they are the number 1 team in the country, and they deserve it, and they will. But I do think some of the questions about them, and there aren't a lot, but some of the questions are, who have they played?
Will this week help you determine if they're number one?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If they beat Georgia, I think even though I don't think Georgia is Georgia, but Georgia's still a top elite program, regardless if they're not Georgia from last year. If they beat, just like I think Oregon should be in front of Ohio State. They beat them. I don't care where it was, they beat them.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Who have they played? But it's the way they've looked playing all of these games, and they look like the best team right now.
So our last guest, and I'm sorry to interrupt, you brought up a great point. They haven't faced a top 80 offense yet. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
when they deserve where they are right now. Quinn Ewers is a really good quarterback, no doubt. They've got a great offensive line, defensive line. They should be number 1 right now. And they might be on Sunday after it's all said and done. But I think some of the questions about how good they're going to be when you take on a top-level team, I think it's like what happened to Ole Miss. That's the example I brought up earlier. Ole Miss took on some teams of a higher quality, and now they've taken a couple of lumps. So that's my only question.
Well, and now the conference is wide open because you have Ole Miss with a couple of losses, and LSU, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, all of these teams that you thought would be in the hunt, which technically they still are, but it's just how
More
good
teams
are they?
in the mix now.
Right, it is wide open.
All right, Connor, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but back-to-back strong performances that include wins. Look, regardless of the caliber of opponent, what people want to say about Mississippi State, I think it would say a lot about Connor having these back-to-back games, considering what people were thinking about him early in the season after Bowling Green in Notre Dame.
Well, not Bowling Green.
Excuse me,
but
not Notre
McNeese, which he played fine against McNeese.
Yeah, he played fine.
A quarter and
But
a half, and they were like,
They
okay.
lumped in Notre Dame to that assessment.
Yeah. Well, everything was based on Notre Dame, which at the time, the reality was, yes, you should be concerned about Connor's performance against Notre Dame, and yes, you should be critical of the performance, just like we're raving about previous performances by him, just like we're raving about the Bowling Green performance. That's what Elko was kind of hitting on after that game. That's fine. Where I thought it went wrong was just assuming that was the end of this quarterback that had a body of work that said that was the outlier. But it wasn't guaranteed that was, it wasn't guaranteed that hey, maybe missed time due to injury, it's a new offense. So it was something like we have to see it. We expect, to me, you expect that it'll go back to what you thought coming into the season because you saw enough prior. We saw it in high school, we saw it in college, we saw it against good teams. I think it would be significant for Connor just to stack good games, really good games, and to stack those, including a road win, which I don't believe he's had.
No.
So yeah, in which I think he'll go out and get it, just like A&M went out and got it at Florida. There will be something to really be said, like I said, for A&M to win a third game away from home this year and be 3-0 against 3 SEC opponents out away from Kyle Field. That's really significant when you're sitting there going, they got to win at Auburn and they got to win at South Carolina. That's really significant. I think it erases all of that past history if you do that. But more importantly, yes, if Connor goes out and him and the offense, the passing game, because I think if that comes, then definitely so does the run game. If they go out and play well and look like an efficient unit that moves the ball and hits chunk plays and has a good game for 2 weeks in a row with a bye week in between, I think you can start going, okay, this is kind of what you expect to take the field every week. And there's going to be ups and downs like, hey, South Carolina is a much better defense than probably Missouri and Mississippi State. Texas is obviously a much better defense than everyone they'll play, save maybe Notre Dame, South Carolina. You know, those are probably 2 of the top 3 you're going to play are still on the schedule. So it's not going to always be up. But if they play well this weekend and Connor looks like the Connor we saw against Mizzou and the Connor we thought we'd see coming in this season, I think then it's really significant for him and his confidence. And it's just another step forward for an offense that I really believe is doing this.
Callie, did we ever go back and check what people said to you yesterday?
I did not know.
Well, today I want you to like, comment, subscribe, and tell people to do something else. You thought about that. You were really thinking about it.
Well, I was going to say something, but I'm not.
About Kurt?
No. Well, yes, but no. I don't know. I'm really bad at this.
Okay, well, that means don't do anything. Whatever you do, do not type a word. Please type a word. See you next time.